Hey guys, welcome to my channel and happy 2025. It might be a new year, but people are definitely still on the same bullshit as last year, and entitled people are definitely still everywhere in the world. So today we're going to be talking about a couple more cases of entitlement that I've found recently. So welcome back to the Entitled Asshole Report. I did want to leave a disclaimer before I get into this entitled asshole report. As with most of them, it's not like that huge of an issue. Like, sure, it's a case of entitlement, but I'm not trying to like sit here and be like, we need to cancel these people, we need to like make or break their careers. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. Just because they're a little entitled doesn't mean that they don't deserve respect. In this first case, the original video was deleted because of the backlash, but I was able to find it through several stitches online. And basically this mom named Savannah had taken her 8-year-old child to Target during the holiday season, where her child then saw the elf on the shelves in the toy section of Target and consequently found out that the elves aren't really real based on Santa magic, and she had to find out the truth about Christmas.
What's wrong, baby?
My elf ain't real.
How did you find out?
Target.
Do better.
The video was basically giving like, Target did this, Target ruined Christmas for my daughter, essentially. Like, that's the vibe she was trying to give off. However, she obviously wasn't getting the sympathy and rage against Target that she so clearly craved, and instead a lot of people were saying things like, yeah, it absolutely did not have to go like this. People were saying a lot of things like she could have easily came up with something or made some kind of excuse. Some people even took to pointing out the Elf on the Shelf book, which I am not too familiar with, but supposedly specifically says that you have to buy your elf from the store and then it gets its Santa magic afterwards, which is something that she easily could have said. Or if not else, a lot of comments were giving other solutions, like saying, oh, these are play elves, but like the real elves are like here or there, you know? A lot of the comments were saying that she could have solved this with some quick thinking and some quick excuses, and it didn't necessarily have to ruin the magic for her child. Savannah then made a follow-up video basically just claiming that people are rude and that she was simply just trying to spread awareness that these elves are in the toy section of Target.
My video landed on the wrong side of TikTok yesterday, but some of you guys are just rude. I was like, dang, a girl's just trying to post some awareness here. I was laying in bed and reading some of the comments, and I was like, gosh, do these people really think that, like, after 8 years of keeping it a secret, we just gave up?
Which I don't think is true, but that's what she was basically claiming in her, like, second follow-up video. No, in my opinion, trying to blame Target does seem a bit extra to me. Do I think it's wrong to spread awareness? No. Like, she could have posted, hey moms, just to let you know, if you take your kids to Target during the Christmas season, the Elf on the Shelf toys are right here, so maybe have a reason prepared as to why they're here. Like, that's fine. But her video didn't seem like a warning to me. Her video seemed like she wanted something from Target. She wanted Target to see her complaint and like give her some compensation because she was mad. The video also gives off the wrong energy because she clearly is making her 8-year-old child, who supposedly is devastated, who just found out that, presumably just found out that Santa's not real, or at least that the elves aren't real. She's standing there in Target making her 8-year-old daughter admit this online. You can even tell in the video, she's like, who did this to you? What happened? Like, just let the girl grieve. Damn. That's what really sparks the entitlement in this for me. It's not the fact that she's like, hey, I went to Target, this happened, letting y'all know so you can be prepared. She literally films her upset child to try and evoke a reaction, to try and get people on her side, to try and get people angry. And that's what kind of draws the line to me. Stop using your children to get a reaction online. And instead of having a mature conversation with her daughter, she had to turn it into, oh, Target ruined this, Target did this. In my opinion, the child is 8 years old, as said in the video, which is kind of an age where kids start to have skepticism regarding Santa anyways, like 7, 8 years old. However long you keep the belief going in your household or family, that's for you to decide, and that's fine. But usually that's what I see, like the general age people stop believing in such. So there is a good chance that she already had some skepticism regarding Santa, and then seeing the elves, or regarding the elves, and then seeing the elves in the store was kind of just like the turning point for her. She's like, oh shit, this really isn't real. And then it would be the mother's place to have a conversation about it, like, hey, just because these elves aren't real doesn't mean that the magic of Christmas isn't real, or whatever you want to say going forward when you tell people that Santa's not real. But no, she had to turn it into an excuse to try and blame Target, an excuse to try and get something on herself, even if that's just sympathy or attention. She wanted something out of it, clearly, and she didn't get it. The next case was a CEO who was getting frustrated with the way that several of her interviews were going. I also discovered this video through a Stitch commentary, but the original video is still up and going. So basically there's this woman named Julia whose sole focus on TikTok is like career advice and promoting, I guess, like her career, which, okay, cool, whatever, great, you know? And from what I could tell from her page, it seems to be more so geared towards young adults, maybe who've like finished high school, maybe in college, but are looking for a job or a career moving forward, something of that nature. And Julia is the founder of Home from College, which I did look up, and it seems to be a website where people can make like resumes and also find jobs, which like slay, you know, like that's cool. So her whole page, I did scroll through some of her other videos, her whole page seems to be like giving tips on how to prepare for job interviews, how to like build a resume, things of that nature, which makes sense. But the one video in particular that I saw people mentioning was this video where she talked about how in 8 job interviews, all of them were bashing on their former employer, and that is something you should not do, and that obviously she doesn't want to hire people who are going to bash on their former employer.
I just had my 8th interview of the day, and I swear to God, if one more person talks badly about their former employer, if you talk badly about an employer, the only person that looks bad is you. Instead, if you have a toxic boss, this is how you should answer the question.
And this irritated people. As Cal mentioned in their video, there are people who do overshare, and obviously you don't necessarily want that. But if you ask about people's former jobs at interviews, you should be expected to hear an answer about their former job at the interview, and they shouldn't have to sugarcoat it or make it sound better than it was to get a job. Oh, so one of the comments said, so you're not actually asking about their experience, you're testing their ability to use corporate buzzwords, or so bosses can act horribly and we're not allowed to talk about it. Got it. Which, yeah, I felt the same way in hearing this. Obviously, yes, you need to address these things with an element of professionalism. You don't just want to go into an interview and be like, yeah, my former boss was shitty. You know, you need to word it with professionalism. But if your former employer sucked and that's why you're leaving the job, you should be able to talk about that and say that without that being a red flag for your hireability. Especially if you don't want to end up in a similar job. Sometimes it's not even like the management was bad inherently, but it was a wrong fit for you and how you do things. So saying, oh, I left this job because I didn't agree with the way management ran this. If their management is the exact same, obviously you don't want to get into another job like that. So I think it's okay to say, yeah, I didn't like the way management ran this, or yeah, I didn't like the way I was treated at this job. And that's a fair reason to leave a job, and I think that's absolutely okay to say at a job interview. Another comment that really sold it for me, I guess, was, if I'm praising my former employer, why would I be looking for a new job? And yeah, exactly. If you just want to hear us talk about how amazing our former employers are, like why would we want to work somewhere else, you know? I do appreciate the advice about getting jobs and such, but I was watching some of her other content and a lot of it just gave me like bad vibes, and it didn't seem extremely reflective of the way that everything works. Such as in one video, she's made this whole point about how you need to send a thank you letter to the person conducting your interview 30 minutes after you leave the interview, and obviously all the comments were like, that seems a little extreme. Like, thank them in person, like give them some time to reflect on the interview and then thank them, or then do whatever. And some people were even saying things like they didn't have more success in finding a job if they did or did not do that. Now obviously if it's a professional job, yeah, you should thank your interviewer, whatever, but the way she's just so adamant, like it has to be 30 minutes after, it has to be, when that's not really very reflective to a lot of jobs these days, I feel like. And then in another one, she was explaining things that she doesn't like when she asks the question, So tell me about yourself.
This is an interview question I know you're not prepping for that you will get asked in your next interview. I had 2 of the worst interviews I've had in a really long time, and I'm gonna tell you what I asked and what they did so badly so you don't do it too. A question I obviously always ask is, so tell me about yourself. First candidate was incredibly high level. He told me he started in real estate, then he wanted to do finance, and now he thinks he wants to do a startup. I walked away as confused as he seemed to be, with no understanding of what he was actually capable of. The second candidate told me every micro detail of their professional journey, starting at their literal birth story. It was insane. Instead, this is how you should answer. Start by saying a memorable fun fact about yourself, like you were a competitive skier growing up. Then you're gonna get into details about 1 or 2 specific experiences that actually relate to the role you're applying for. You're gonna wanna go into a level of detail so that when I walk away, I remember that you were the skier who was able to execute X, Y, and Z.
And she lists 2 of the worst interviews in her experience, one of which she said they were just a little all over the place listing everything and left her confused, and one she says they literally like shared everything like about their career history and everything, and she didn't like that. I get maybe both can be a little annoying, like when you're all over the place talking about yourself, or when you're like sharing too much. But I feel like tell me about yourself is such an open-ended question. It's hard to get the exact right answer that employers are looking for. I can understand advice on how to do better, but saying that those are literally the 2 like worst interview answers she's ever had to that, when it seems like both applicants answered the question, is a bit extreme to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just delusional. Maybe I'm just grasping at straws here, but I just felt like that was weird. And then I have 2 more cases of entitlement. One stems from my personal life because I was struggling to find a third one for this video. I wanted a third topic and I couldn't find anything. So I'm like, okay, I'll just share this encounter that I witnessed in person. It was definitely entitled. And then I thought of the one. So I'm just going to share my experience and the one that I saw online. Since this one is from my personal life, obviously there's no video to accompany it, but I did kind of want to talk about it because when I witnessed this in real life, I'm like, oh my god. So I was at a store. It was a couple days after Christmas, and the employees were like restocking some of the seasonal items. So there was carts periodically throughout the store, like of the stuff that they were stocking. So I needed to say that to explain the next part. So when I walked up to the cash register, there was just the employee behind the counter and there was a cart sitting there. But the employee wasn't like actively like in the cart or anything. She was just standing there. She didn't really say anything. So I assume I can proceed in line. And then I hear this lady behind me just go, ah! And so then I realized, oh, that was her cart, and she stepped away. So obviously I apologize. Obviously I get behind her in line and I say, I'm sorry. Like I just thought it was just a cart sitting there. I didn't realize like it was yours, whatever. And she kind of just glares at me, but she takes her place in line. And then she says to the employee, I had a $15 gift card, but it fell out of my cart for this specific place. And then I'm kind of piecing it together in my mind because her cart was there. So I'm like, okay, so she already left the line once and now she's just like back. So the employee obviously does whatever she's able to do. She's kind of just like, is there any way you can like go grab a different one? Lady's like, no, there was only $30 ones and I want a $15 one. That was the last $15 one and I need to find it. So the employee was very nice and she sends 2 of the other employees who were not like dealing with any customers at the moment to go look through the aisles and see if they could find this gift card on the floor. And then the lady starts being like, I was in that aisle. I was over there too. Oh yeah, I was also in this aisle over there. Literally like directing them to the places she was so that they could search for her fucking gift card. You're lucky they even sent out a search party for your gift card. They did not have to do that, but they did. And the lady just kind of stands there still complaining. The employee's trying to resolve the situation. Like, could you have set it on an aisle somewhere? Like, could you have put it somewhere? She's like, no, it fell through my cart. Once again, she tries to be like, you're positive there was no other ones? No, just $30 ones. Okay. And then the other employees were unsuccessful in their search. She's like, I guess I'll just have to pay for all this, then go search the store for it and then come back through the line. And the employee's kind of just like, okay, like what else are they supposed to say? You know, like what are they supposed to do for you? Like if it was unable to be found, what do you expect? Since the employee didn't like give her the grand reaction that she wanted, the lady repeats herself and says, I guess I'm just gonna have to do this. And the employee's kind of just like I don't know what to tell you, ma'am. Then there was a couple people forming in the line. There wasn't a line when that happened. So one of the other cashiers took me to the other line, and then this lady starts calling out, did anyone see a $15 gift card? If you did, it's my gift card. And that's the point when I finished my stuff and I left. But it was just crazy to watch firsthand and like see people like that. And before someone comments and be like, why didn't you say anything to the employees? Like, why didn't you say anything? Because I work in the service industry too, and that would have literally just made the situation so much worse. The employee didn't look like visibly like distraught or like she was unable to handle it. And so if I tried to argue this lady and be like, maybe you shouldn't be like that, she would have just argued me, caused a bigger commotion in the store, and then these poor employees never would have gotten a break, you know? Sometimes you don't always need to say something. It just will escalate situations and make them worse. And I know she could have just been having a bad day, whatever. She just really wanted this gift card. But it's just like the way she like was conducting a whole search party for this gift card. And like literally yelling at the other customers at the end. Like, did anyone see this? Like, she for real wanted like us to bring out the search dogs and like request for this gift card. And I was through all the aisles in the store. I did not see a gift card anywhere. That made me think of this next case. They're not even really similar at all, but like, I don't know, just like customer service made me think of it, because a lot of people get really entitled when it comes to like store workers, food service workers. They just think that they get everything and we get nothing. And that reminded me of this story that I saw of this lady whose kid spilled candy in a Joann's. And so she was kind of expressing her disappointment that the employee didn't automatically give her a new one for free.
I need to know what you would do in this situation, and I'm going to give you like a shortened version of it. And as he's trying to open it, he overcorrected and like yanked this off, and about 75% of the M&ms go flying all over the floor. And instantly I'm mortified, like, I'm so sorry, there's a mess everywhere. And then I look over and he's sobbing because he's embarrassed, and he's probably thinking like, oh no, this is all I have left now, like that's sad. And so I'm like, it's okay, it was an accident. And the lady at the cash register disappears, and I'm like, oh, moment of truth. Is she going to get another one? Is that weird to assume because we spilled most of it? Or is she getting like something to clean it up? I don't know. And so she comes back with a broom, and I was like, oh, so she's just here to clean it up. Okay. But he spilled most of them, and he's really sad about it. So I feel like as a good mom, I want to get him more because it was an accident. And so then I asked the lady, I was like, hey, if I like pay for another one now, because I'd already checked out, if I pay for it, can I just go grab it? Because the line's really long and I don't want to have to wait in line again. And she's like, oh yeah, of course. And so she goes ahead and like types it in. And I was like, okay, $4, just go ahead and put your card in. And obviously I offered to pay for it, so I was going to do it, and I did. But like at the same time, if it was me, I feel like I would be like, no, like you didn't even get to enjoy it. Like it's fine. It was an accident. Like, I don't know. I kind of expected it for free, but I don't want to come off like a mooch because it's not like I don't know. What would you assume? What would you do? If you were at a restaurant and you like dropped your food, or if you like spilled your drink, they would just replace it. They wouldn't expect you to eat it off the floor or to not have anything. But like at this store, since I purchased it, is it like my problem now? Like, oh, he dropped it. That's unfortunate.
And I was a little bit torn on this topic at first, but ultimately I do think it was a lot to just assume that you would get a new one for free, especially in the type of store you are. I work in a restaurant, so obviously it's food-based, so when someone drops their food or spills something, we do replace it for them because that's what's expected of us. That's what corporate would want us to do. But that's not the same for every job, like especially at like a store. Like if it was a plate, say your son was holding a plate and they dropped the plate, obviously you wouldn't expect the cashier to just be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go get you a new plate for free, when it was technically the fault of the people buying it. Obviously I'm not saying the 3-year-old is like to blame because he's fucking 3. And there's a good chance that the store rules dictate that that's something that the employee would not be allowed to do either. Like, it's not necessarily her just being like, yeah, fuck you, I don't want to give you a new one for free. It's likely something that they aren't allowed to do. I did kind of want to see how other people felt though, so I found a Stitch video, and the comments were mainly on the side of no, like you shouldn't have expected it for free. Other people even pointing out the fact that like I would have cleaned it up, or at least offered to clean it up myself, or like calling out that this woman's first instinct wasn't like to try and clean it up. I do understand she had kids with her, and I do understand that most companies like don't allow people to clean up their own messes anyways. Like if someone spills something in our store, we're not supposed to, even if they ask, we're not supposed to give them a towel or like a broom or anything. We clean it up for them. Likely that's how it was at this store, so I don't think her not offering to clean up was the end of the world. But it is still kind of like you just stood there and were expecting her to get one for free while the mess of M&ms was still on the floor, you know. And other people were saying things like, I've never heard the saying, you break it, you get a new one for free and don't have to worry about the broken one. And another said if they'd spilled the candy in the parking lot on their way to the car, would she still expect the store to replace it for free? Like, just because it happened in the store, it sucks, doesn't mean that you immediately get a new one for free. And also, I feel like the wording is also kind of what makes this a little more on the entitled end of things. But she's like, moment of truth, is she going to get us a new one? Like, that's your first thought. And it's like, moment of truth, like, oh my god, we're seeing if she's a good employee or if she sucks. And I think it's ridiculous when people just automatically expect things, or it's just the entitled energy. Like, I feel like the expectation that you're just going to get something for free kind of once again gives off the vibe that like, we're better than you serve us, so you're entitled to fix any mistake that we make, when, you know, everybody makes mistakes. Once again, I'm not trying to completely bash on anyone in this video, even this last lady. Like, I'm sure she's fine, but she did ask for opinions on the video. But that is going to be all for this video. Y'all can let me know your opinions on these instances, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Peace out.